Hey everybody, welcome to this video. Probably the last learning that we're going to be doing online this year for math. So yay. On a kind of sour note though, the last assignment we had was about Venn diagrams, and after looking through it, noticed that we didn't do so hot. So we're going to be talking about them a little bit more and deciphering what a Venn diagram actually stands for and what each number in each section means. So let me just share my screen here. All right, so this lovely part here, we're going to go over what the Venn diagrams mean and what each section entails. So we're all pretty familiar with two circle Venn diagrams here. Watch my cursor. The two circle Venn diagram has four regions with two circles, topic A and topic B. And these can stand for anything as we've talked about before. And these are the four regions: 1, 2, 3, and then 4. This region 4 here, if there's any number there, that just means that these people or this data didn't fit into our two categories. There's actually like a third option or another one. I always like when they call it A and B, I say athletics and band. And there are some people who don't do either of those things. So if you're one of those people, you'd be in this fourth region right here. So kind of deciphering a two-circle Venn diagram is these people in region 1 are only in group A. They've only are in athletics. No question about that. These people in region 2, we see the two circles are overlapping. That means they're in both sections. So they're doing both things. They've said yes to both questions. In region 3 here, they're only in group B. They're only in band. They're not in athletics. And we talked about region 4 already, how they're just not in either of those two things. They're not in the two things that we're talking about. They could be in other things. They can be in student council or some sort of other activity or club, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about A and B. We're talking about athletics and band. Only two things here. In this case, we can make more Venn diagrams later, but in this case, that would be there. Okay. We also see that the three-circle diagram, we're going to come back to that in a minute. This one was not our friend the last week. So, all right, so here is an example of a two-circle Venn diagram. Has our four regions here. We're talking about basketball and football. So some students were asked if they had been to a basketball game or the football game this year, and these are the results. Okay, so kind of in our four regions again, here's region 1, here's region 2, here's region 3, and region 4. So this part here wants us to talk about what each number means in this diagram. So if we look at these answers here, the 52 in region 1 represents the 52 students who went to a basketball game, but did not go to a football game. That's why they're only in that region 1, what we'd be calling that now. The 12 in region 2 in the middle, what we also call the intersection, have been to both a basketball and football game. The 63 in region 3 means that these people only went to the football game, but they did not go to the basketball game. And then the 8 in region 4 means that those 8 students didn't go to either of them. They didn't go to a football game or they didn't go to a basketball game. If you were one of those people this year, you would be one of those 8. If you went to both, you'd be in the middle in that intersection. You'd be one of those 12. If you went to one but not the other, you'd be either 52 or 63. So that part, I feel like, is pretty straightforward to everybody. We understand that. What we don't get is maybe the further questions. So how many people had been to a football game? So I'm going to go back to the picture. So how many people went to a football game? Think about that for a second. Most people, their first instinct is to say 63 because you got football here, 63 people. Cool. That is incorrect. No, that's not right. When we talk about Venn diagrams, we have to look at the overall circle. The football circle is this one right here. And all the numbers within that circle went to the football game. So we don't need to just talk about 63. We also have to talk about these 12 people. So that's actually 75 people went to the football game. Now you can sit there and go, hey, but these 12, they went to the basketball game. They didn't go to the football game. Yes, they did. They went to the football game. I don't care what else you do during your free time, you know? I don't care. Did you go to the football game? Yes, we did. Cool. There's 75 people. Look at this circle. There's 75 people in the football circle. So that's what we have to talk about. And that, I feel like, is the big picture that we were missing the last assignment. How many students went to exactly one of the two sports? Go back. How many only went to one? So if we kind of process of elimination, these 8 people didn't go to either, so I'm not going to count them. These 12 people went to both, but our question said only one or the other, not both. And the 52 and 63 did do that. They went to one sporting event and not the other. So you'd actually add 63 and 52. That'd be what? 115? So that's how many people only went to one. So this is what you have to do. Look through all your options and see what the question is actually asking. What's another one? Now, how many students were surveyed? This is our universal set. So remember, to get the universal, you just see all the numbers in this Venn diagram and add them up once. So 52 plus 12 plus 63 plus 8, all 4 regions, add them together. That's how many people were surveyed total. All right, now the 2 circle Venn diagrams are pretty straightforward because they only have one intersection. After we figure out that, hey, there's 75 people who went to the football game, and how many people went to basketball? 64. After we figure out that, we can kind of understand. What gets difficult is the 3 circle Venn diagrams. We have A, B, and C. And usually when it's A, B, and C, I like to say athletics, band, and now choir. So you go around to all the school, to 100 people, and you go, hey, are you in band? Are you in athletics? Are you in choir? They can say yes or no to any of those 3 questions. And we're still leaving out all those clubs and other things. These are the 3 things we're talking about right now, the 3 subjects. All right, so there are 8 regions in this Venn diagram. You can label them 1, 2, 3, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 out here. The region 8 means that they're not in any of those 3. So if you're not in athletics, band, or choir, you would be here in region 8. You would be one of those numbers. Now, what makes this Venn diagram more difficult is the amount of overlap, the amount of intersections. Region 5 here in the very, very middle overlaps all 3 circles. They don't have 3 hands, but 1, 2, and 3. They overlap, meaning who's ever in region 5 here is in all 3 categories, which is really, really cool. In regions 1, 3, and 7, those numbers mean that they're only in that one set. They're only in athletics, or they're only in band, or only in choir. A, B, and C only, not any of the others, at least that we're talking about. Now, the overlaps is when it gets a little bit more tricky. Look at region 2. Region 2 is overlapping between A and B. So those people there are in both of those groups. Now we're going to go see an example and we're going to talk about how this can get confusing. Move. All right. So here's one. All right. So we surveyed a group of students and asked what were some of the foods that they liked. Pizza, hamburgers, or tacos. All right. So we have that same picture here from above with our 8 regions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can kind of figure that out. Now, if we're trying to explain what each number means, we can do that. So we're going to start with region 1 here. And I have the answers all right there. So if you want to pause the video, you can and look at all of these and determine. I'm going to talk about them really quickly. They do kind of start to repeat, just a different number and a different label between pizza, hamburger, and tacos. I'm going to be one of these people in the middle. Okay. All right. So start with region 1, which are these 4 people. These 4 people only liked pizza. Okay. They're not in any other circle. They're only in the pizza circle. That's what they like. These 3 people, they're in both the pizza circle. You can see that circle here. And the hamburger circle. So those 3 people like both. Region 3, these 2 people only like hamburger. These 2 people are in both of these circles, so pizza and taco. These 5 people in the middle are in all 3 circles, so they like all 3, which is me. The 1 is in both of these circles, hamburger and taco. And the 3 is only in the taco circle. And of course, this number 10 is on the outside, meaning that 10 people didn't like any of these options, which is fine, I guess. So that part, I don't believe is too difficult to understand. And if it is, we need to have that conversation. So what gets difficult then is now the questions. So let's look at some questions. How many people liked hamburgers? How many people liked hamburgers? My first thought is 2. These 2 people right here. I'm incorrect. You have to look at the entire hamburger circle. So if we look at this whole circle around, that has 4 numbers there, 3, 2, 1, and 5. So we have to add up all of those, which adds up to be 11. So 11 people like hamburger. These people here with the 3, 5, and 1, they like other foods. It's okay to like other foods. All I asked was about hamburgers. Do you like a hamburger? Yes or no? And these 11 people said yes, they like hamburgers. So that's what you have to think about. Same type of thing for tacos. You look at the entire taco circle and you add up all of those numbers. All of those people in that circle like tacos. So you have to talk about them. Talk about them. All right. I'm horrible at puns. I've been out of the class too long. All right. Now, what gets more confusing is if I ask, how many people liked pizza and hamburger? How many people liked pizza and hamburgers? Okay, well, looking through that, pizza and hamburger, their intersection is here at the 3. In our region 2, we talked about that. 3 people like pizza and hamburger. But that's not it. If we didn't have the 3rd taco circle, this 3 would actually be larger because these 5 people still like pizza and hamburgers. They just also like another food, which is okay. So when we talk about in a three circle Venn diagram, if we talk about, hey, how many people like two of them, you have to look at the big circles. So if we look at the pizza circle here and the hamburger circle, where do they overlap? They overlap with the 3 and the 5. So 8 people then like pizza and hamburgers. 8 people. Now these 5 like other foods, but that's okay. All I talked about was pizza and hamburger. These 3 people may like something else. They may like chicken. But we're not talking about chicken. We're talking about pizza and hamburger. So these 8 people like those 2 things. And it can get even more confusing from there. If I say, how many people liked tacos, but not pizza? How many people liked tacos, but not pizza? So always kind of like start at the beginning and work your way through it. Talk about one thing and then change it as you go. Oh, how many people like tacos? So we look at the taco circle. All of those. So 2, 5, 1, and 3, those like tacos. And that's 11 people. But they have to like tacos, but not pizza. So if you look at it, the 2 and the 5 are in the pizza circle. So those 7 people like pizza, and I don't want to include those people in my question. So 1 and 3, 4 people like tacos, but not pizza. That's all you have to do. You look at the question and you start with the broad, looking at the whole thing, and just slowly dial in on what the question is asking. You start with the entire universal set, you go to one circle, you get rid of a couple more numbers, and make sure that you're looking at that as a whole. So if you have any more questions or you still don't understand, make sure you please join the Zoom meetings this week. And if you haven't turned in past assignments, we need to get those turned in as soon as possible so I can have them graded and have your passing grade. Hopefully passing. Everyone's passing, hopefully. Check with me. And we'll make sure that that is all good. Make sure you're not being stressed out by anything. And have a good day.